Hi, I'm Loretta and this is my sister
Sharon.
We are founders of the plant-based retreat, The Detox Barn, and we're also a comedy double act. I know, funny vegans. Shoot me now.
9 years ago, I was diagnosed with a chronic autoimmune disease and got myself better using a plant-based diet. Since then, I've just fallen in love with living well.
I retrained as a natural vegan chef, and each week we'll be interviewing experts in the wellness industry, as well as sharing the highs and lows of trying to live well as single mums living together with our 2 kids.
How well have we lived this week? Well, I was saying to Loretta earlier that I just find like I get so irritated with small things, and it's things where I shouldn't be irritated. Like I've literally just done a yoga class and the yoga teacher says, turn on to your favourite side. And I'm like, why do they always, I don't have a favourite side.
Nobody I don't think anyone has a favourite side. And
why would you have a favourite side?
No, you have a favourite side to sleep on, but not to roll over to. And if you do, what a weird thing to have.
Yeah. It's when people say things like mindful eating.
Like, yeah, well, it's that wellness world. Like, there's a lot of wellness wank out there. You know, you see it on Instagram and Facebook and, mindful eating. I mean, I know that is really important and people say it's part of your wellness strategy. And
I refuse to do it.
I refuse to do it, but I go a step further as I hate people that do it. It annoys me. It irritates any slow eaters. I'm just like, it tells me something about their brains. I like to snort food. I shovel it up. I love it. I like getting excited about it. I don't like waiting too long for dessert because then the momentum is gone. And people that sit there and go,
I've learned to mindfully eat.
It's really important for your digestive tract.
It's like chewing it. It tastes like fucking cardboard after a while.
Yeah. And then you
my
want to
saliva's gone.
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying the food. If that means stripping the joy out of eating, no, I don't want to do it.
Let's just eat quickly and enjoy it.
And also the people that are mindful eaters, what type of people are they?
If I went out on a date with someone who mindfully ate, said, Loretta, I'm sorry, I'll take it a bit longer because I've gone on a course on mindful eating.
I hope you don't mind, but I will be chewing my food mindfully.
I'd be like,
gotta go. This ain't gonna work. You can imagine what type of bloke that is when they bring you back to the bedroom.
Yeah, you're like, hey, we're here, let's go. Well, I wouldn't do that.
Who would do that?
No one would do that.
No.
And they'd be
if they did, they'd run.
Yeah.
Woo, let's go. Woo, get it out. Let's mount.
No, but he would be more, whoa.
Let's floss.
Floss first. And then?
Let's undress mindfully.
What's that?
Oh.
You've thrown your clothes on the floor.
Oh dear.
Let's not get overexcited.
Let's fold them up.
Down, boy.
Down, boy.
There's a time and a place.
I've learnt to control him mindfully.
Let's fold our clothes. He rips off his burgundy turtleneck.
Loves a turtleneck.
Doesn't go anywhere without his turtleneck. Burgundy, olive green, black, blue black.
And loafers. With a shoehorn.
Yes.
Sometimes they're difficult to get on. And everywhere I bring my shoehorn.
Can double up as something else a bit later. Don't get overexcited.
There's some blokes that do that. I'm like, no, I'm out of here.
Down, boy.
Stop saying that. I don't.
That's how he controls it.
I don't want to mindfully go to bed with you either. No. But I think it's my irritation levels. And then I had other than that, after my yoga class, I had to go and get my results for something. And it was quite scary.
Go on, talk.
Well, all right.
You've just really flippantly said that. You had quite a scary week, didn't you?
All right, I wasn't going to overshare, but now you're going to make me. I've been told off about oversharing.
Yeah.
And because of my ADHD that no one really believes I have. None of my family believes I have it.
No, we do believe you have it.
The kids
I don't think we've ever seen a cupboard door shut.
But you can talk. The kids don't believe I've got it. They think I want to have it.
That's because we're all ADHD and we think that's normal.
But anyway, I basically had to get some results for something. I had an investigation because I had a cyst.
Yeah, you're talking about something like...
On my
ovaries. Trying to keep to the end of the video?
No, I just didn't want to overshare everything.
I just said what it is. It was a cyst on your ovaries.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, no, okay. I was picturing my ovaries. But anyway...
I was picturing your ovaries.
And the route to my ovaries.
Down, boy. He's picturing your ovaries.
Anyway, I had a cyst.
Let's picture our insides before we...
Oh, that's gross.
thank the universe
for the insides that function so well.
Functions so well without us even knowing it.
No. And basically, I got sent for a scan and went in there. I was a little bit nervous because it's kind of like a probey thing that they put up you. And when I went into the room, I realised the person that was doing the investigation was a rugby mum and not from this team that
I even say it was the guy that was going, down boy.
No, it was a rugby mum. And
He's made up. I don't know why I said that.
From my old team. And I was like, oh God, this is awkward. But I was trying to kind of really pretend that I'm really breezy. So I was like, she was going, oh, would you like someone else to be doing your scan? I'm like, no, you're all right. Pop my knickers off. And I was just acting really odd. I actually would have liked someone else, but I was just like too embarrassed to say it.
It's funny, you're under pressure.
And then she's doing the scan and I'm like going, how's Chris? Playing well? Like doing all this? Because he's a really good scrum half, isn't he? So I was just like, oh my God, this couldn't be more embarrassing. And then I get to the results.
If any of you are worried, everything is fine.
If my fans are worried, I'm fine.
We love you.
We love you. No, basically, then I had to go and get the results done. And Jesus Christ, talk about nearly giving me a heart attack. She must have taken 15 minutes to give me the all clear. She spent 15 minutes asking me where I lived, how long for, was my doctor's address up to date, what my HRT regime, how long have I been on HRT regime, progesterone versus, have I got cancer? At the end, I just went, have I got cancer? What are the results? Just like, you are all in the clear.
She mindfully eats.
Yeah, she mindfully eats. I was like, you really need to get some training.
Yeah, because when someone comes in for results, you've got to know the results. What is at the top of their mind. The top of their mind is, just tell me it's okay.
Yeah,
just
and
tell
then
me
they asked me about HRT.
She's like, no, we need to go through this. We need to get through all the questions before we talk about anything else. Look at the bigger picture. Anyway, she's fine. She's all right.
It made me laugh because I wasn't actually worried until I got this letter telling me your results are coming up or whatever. And it says, it's a very stressful time for you at the moment. I'm like, well, I didn't think it was that stressful. That's why I went to the yoga. And bring a friend
she brought
on
me.
Results day.
I said, it'll be a laugh.
I said, I don't want to bring you. I'm an adult. I'll go by myself.
I did go with you though, didn't you?
You were like, no, come on, I'll go. It'll be a laugh. I'm like, he said, bring an adult. Do mindfulness. I'm like, have I got cancer? Why are they sending me all this kind of scaremongering letter? Anyway, I'm absolutely fine. And this week you are in for a real treat. We have got Sammie on the podcast. This guy is so cool. He's so talented and so successful and so effortless in his delivery about how to have money and how to save money and what he did and how he got out of debt. Absolutely loved this podcast and I definitely need it.
Yeah, he gave us loads of tips and tricks on how to be...
Tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks on how to be financially free, and that's what we want. We're desperate.
That's what we all want, isn't it?
This episode is sponsored by us, Gavin Sisters, and our very first product, Funky Coffee. It's triple certified.
Paid a fortune to sponsor this.
Yeah, we're paying ourselves.
Yeah.
It's triple certified organic Arabica coffee and it's boosted with potent adaptogens. The health benefits are many, but don't just take our word for it.
Yeah, instead of us banging on about it, we decided to test our coffee out with our guests at the Detox Barn and take a listen to what they have to say.
They're not getting paid.
No one's getting paid here. Let's be honest.
So we just served funky coffee at the Detox Barn. What did everybody think?
Coffee. Delicious. Amazing. And it's not bitter and it tastes like real coffee.
I was very sceptical, but absolutely it was stunning.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. And did you find, because you had it yesterday, did you find you had a crash afterwards or did you feel like you had sustained energy?
Sustained absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
They want to buy shares in the company. Okay, thanks everybody.
For our listeners, you can get 10% off. Go to gavinsisters.co.uk and use the code podcast at checkout.
Today we are talking all things finance, and we were just chatting before the podcast started, and we were saying how Sharon and I find finance quite frightening.
And boring.
Yes, and boring.
It's not the best combo.
No.
Yeah. And it's something that affects people every day, and it affects their wellness. It affects how you sleep, it affects stress levels, and it can also affect relationships. So today we are joined by Sammie Ellard-King, and you are founder of the platform Up the Gains. When I first read that, I thought it said Up the Gavins. I thought that could be a bit crude, but yeah, Up the Gains, which is actually a platform that helps people simplify finance and teach people about finance. And I think it's really important because it's come from you who had struggled with financially. You were, after university, in debt for about £24,000, is that right? And then you got yourself out of debt, credit card debt, and learnt how to do that, and then set up a platform to help others. So talk to us about that period in your time of being in debt and getting yourself out of debt.
Yeah, so I turned up to university. My mum and dad were spenders, so that was like installed into me. Didn't really know the value of a pound, and it was 18, like let loose. And I turned up to the university, like first day kind of thing. They have all these stalls, and there was a Barclays stall. And it was like, do you want a student overdraft and do you also want a credit card? I was like, yeah. And, you know, freshers week, new clothes, looking good. And that kind of started that period for me. And it kind of got away from me because I was very much, when I was younger, as a lot of young people are, like you just want to fit in and you just want to be like the cool person. But I got sucked into that like heavily, and I was like peacocking to basically show that I had status and thought that I had money.
What would that look like, the peacocking? Just clothes or
Buying really nice clothes.
Yeah,
and like always
watches?
out. Yeah, not really. Like
Yeah.
I loved like really nice jackets and trainers, and I was quite I like a lot of hip hop clothes. So I used to buy like really nice trousers that have like really shiny Nike Dunks, and I look like an absolute bellend.
I was going to say, that sounds awful.
Looking back at those pictures, I'm like, wow. But like fair play, you know, you go out like that, you also have it. But it kind of got away from me because when I got, after university, I moved to London, and that's when it really accelerated because that was when I was around enormous like levels of wealth.
How were you around those at that level?
So I fell into a crowd of people that I met, and they were all doing really well.
Right, or like entrepreneurs and stuff.
Yeah, entrepreneurs, also just really high flyers, like very smart people, still very good friends with them to this day.
Yeah.
And to fit in with those individuals, I didn't have that kind of like foundation financially. And so it was going on the credit card to show up, like and also I had this kind of like always this real like deep drive that I needed to be part of something and feel like I was like showing up. So if someone said to me, do you want to come out on a Tuesday night, like I'm out, even though I was putting it on credit and then paying it down, and it caught up with me massively because eventually the interest ended up being like a third of my monthly wages. And so I was paying out like hundreds of pounds every month just to keep it afloat, and then I was taking out more debt to service that debt because that debt was cheaper, and it just completely got away from me.
Could you do like that's what I used to do when I was younger? Would you like transfer the debt to a new credit card that was 0% interest so that you weren't ending up paying any interest?
Yeah.
But did you run out of options doing that?
Yeah, because they give you a little bit more. And then you then take that and then you'd open two to transfer them, split that, get a little bit more and do it again. And then it was I was just away from myself. And it took a hard moment of just being like, what are you doing? And it happened to me. I was actually away, paid for by a credit card. In Vietnam, of all places, about 2 a.m. on the beach, and a friend of mine turned around to me and he said to me, like, you know, and we call him the chairman as part of our group. He's the one that's got it together. And is
he single? Can you introduce me? Joke. Yeah, go on.
I think it's what every girl says is they always latch onto him somehow. I don't know why. But he said to me basically like, when do you want to retire? And I was like, you know, just for a number out there. And I was like, oh yeah, 50 would be nice, you know, just whatever, you know, I'm in my 20s. I was 25 at the time, so I was like, I'll double it and it'd be nice. always had this dream of like being able to retire early. I don't know what that is, but it's just installed into us, isn't it? And then he said, "Oh, when do you want to pass away?" And I said, "Oh, it'd be nice to get to 80." I always thought that would be good. And he said, "Right, well, that's 30 years. How much do you spend a year right now?" And I was like, "Oh, you know, let's, for argument's sake here, I'll call it 30 grand. Saying if I'm spending 30 grand a year, well, times that 30 by 30, that's 900 grand. And he was like, "Do you have that?" And I was like, "No." Like,
God, that is scary. Yeah.
it's scary, isn't it?
See, that's making me a bit
publications.
anxious. Yeah,
Sorry.
that's all right. Yeah, go
It
on.
does to a lot of people, because they go, "Oh my God," like, or actually this like dream of reality, it all comes together, and it all comes. You've got a decision to make at that point.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, well, I'm minus.
Yeah. And
so
how much minus were you at that point?
That
when
was
the chairman sat you down.
Yeah, about 23.
Okay.
So I'd still had a lot to sort of cover, and then even when I came back, it wasn't like, I always say I flick a switch, and I did in terms of mentality, but I still carried on. Like when you're in debt, you don't just become a new person. You just wake up a brand new person. Like you still make mistakes.
Yeah.
And you still go backwards a little bit, but you start taking steps forward.
So were you so you were working, so you had an income, but it was just a lot of it now was going on debt.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were spending outside of your means, basically. Yeah.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and that was what started to rein in. It was like, okay, I can't say yes to everything. I can't have the new X, Y, and Z because someone else has bought a new coat. Now I have to buy a new coat. That's the way I was. Yeah. And it was like, okay, I've got enough and I can get by, and this is my reality, and this is where I want to get to as well. It's just like, so my thing, everybody says to me, "Oh, you know, you always wanted to be a multi-millionaire," and I'm like, well, yeah, but like that's what you see in the movies, so you just sort of go. But when you actually look at it, like when you actually understand what's enough, you go, "Oh, right, well, that's actually all right. Like I probably could do that within the time frame that I've got because I was young." And so I was like, right, okay, well, I'm not going to get out of this debt just from my income alone. I'm going to side hustle. I'm going to basically cut back on, so basically reduce my expenses by a lot. Yeah. And then increase my income at the same time to get out of it as fast as I possibly can.
And what did you do to like get a new income?
I love talking about this stuff. So I train and resold. So I'd buy trainers at retail price, and then I'd sell them on eBay back then. And sometimes they'd be like double, triple the price, because Nike would release a shoe and it would be £100 at retail. It would sell out super fast. No one can get it. Well, I've got the size 9. I put it on eBay, and you could sell it for twice as much because it was super popular.
Could you?
Yeah, you still can. Still an amazing side hustle to this day. And there's apps now that can help you do it. So there's an app called Heat Movement where you can track all the drops, and you get notified when it comes out, on the day it comes out. Like literally an alarm goes up, notification goes off on your phone, and you just buy it. Yeah. And you get the stock in, and you can sell on StockX. It's a lot tighter and a lot stringent now. Like the margins aren't as high, but it's still incredible. Like you can still double your money by doing it. And then, of course, knowing me, I kept a few as well. But I loved it. It was just a way of like, that was what I tapped into, because I was so heavy on my clothes and I knew what was cool and what wasn't, and like what was a good shoe and what wasn't. I could lean into that a little bit. Yeah. But you know, I was head of marketing for hospitality business, so I lent into that as well. So I freelance in the evenings, and I do like social media for businesses and bring in a bit of money here and there, and just when that money came in, instead of it like going, it would just go immediately as soon as it come in, it would just go off and clear one of those debts. Yeah. And I did something called Debt Snowball, which is where you list your debts from smallest to biggest. And because I was bad with money, it's a good way of giving yourself like a little pat on the back, and you feel quite good. You gamify it. Yeah. So you pay off the smallest debt first. Yeah. And then that gives you that little win. You're like, yes, let's go. And then you do the next one, and you work up like that. Yeah. And that was an incredible way. I got out of it quite quick with doing that. It was 18 months, so I managed to clear it all.
And you said at the beginning that you mentioned your parents, and your parents were spenders.
Yeah.
What did that look like? And do you feel that they passed that on to you, and that's why you spent?
It's really interesting. So now I know that you learn your money habits by the age of 7. So if your parents are spenders, then that gets installed into you. You pick these things up really, really young, those signals that your parents give off. And what that looked like for me is that, you know, my parents' wages would come in, and they would everything would go. And we had nice stuff, and the house was like, we didn't want for anything. It was a good upbringing, but it was also, you know, there wasn't like you need to save your money, you need to invest your money, you need to look after future you. It was like money comes in, money goes out.
But it's funny, isn't it? Because like, in some ways you sort of go, what's wrong with that?
Agreed.
They're not living in credit. Money comes in, it's a flow, it's an energy, money goes out.
And
so
they could drop down dead tomorrow. Kind of. Oh, is that a really stupid shit thing to say?
No, absolutely not. No, you're totally right. And we get, every time we do a post about this, we probably get 100+ comments of people saying that. And I completely agree with you. But I like to throw it back at them and say, well, what if not? Like, what if you get to that age? Do you want to like struggle or not?
Yeah.
Oh no, I get that. So obviously, did they not have a retirement fund?
No, that's the thing. I've come to learn this now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm not going to inherit anything, put it that way. And I've come to learn that they were using credit cards and they were balancing the float here and there, and there was a lot of debt around, but it just wasn't shown to me. But you would pick those things up probably as a kid without even realising it, you know.
And you said that they were sort of quite artistic and jazz clubs, and so do you think that was part of it? In order to live that kind of lifestyle, it meant that, you know, you didn't have that regular income coming in, so they couldn't actually sustain the kind of life that you're talking about.
Definitely. I completely agree with you. Like, it's one of those things. It's like the glitz and glamour was a big part of my childhood. Like, that was what it was. It was parties and nice suits, and you're in that jazz world, and that was very much what it was like. And you know, I imagine that's definitely rubbed off on me and then caused what happened to me as well.
It's interesting because I'm trying to think about our family. So, because I have heard as well that you pick up, you know, generationally, you know, things. So, you know, my dad is Irish, very much an entrepreneur, but came from poverty. So I've not seen poverty, but he's seen poverty. And so then there's that generational thing. And so he built a really successful business. But we just didn't. We always knew the value of money. It wasn't just to go and spend it and be like, even buying like a really nice car that could be perceived as being flash, or, do you see what I mean? All that sort of stuff. And there's 4 of us in our family, and Loretta and I were probably quite similar. And I've got another brother who's a very successful entrepreneur, and he's a real spender.
I find that so interesting though.
Yeah.
Like, your dad's entrepreneurs, you're entrepreneurs, you're entrepreneurs.
So we obviously picked up something.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But we also picked up, there was very much, but I think this is being an entrepreneur, there were highs and lows. There were like, that we were like, oh, you know, one year we'd be going skiing, next year there'd be nothing, you know.
I resonate so much with that. Like, it is exactly
because
how
their
my childhood
business was like that.
Exactly.
You know, so the business sometimes would do really well, and we would have, and then, you know, by the time we were going to drama school, there was no money to send us to drama school.
How awful.
How awful, Daddy! Didn't you say? No, but I mean, like, we never went without. Do you know what I mean? And he did have a proper pension, and he invested. He was not stupid. Again, he wasn't taught about money. So how does he go from complete poverty to come here, making his life? He would have had a real poverty mindset as well, but has obviously fought against that naturally, you know.
I think maybe as well, maybe people go one or two ways. They either go, I never want to be like my parents.
Yeah.
Or they follow their parents. Yeah.
I think everyone does eventually. Like, you always say, you know, God, I don't want to be like that, but it's so ingrained into you. Like, many parts of you will end up being like your dad or your mum.
Yeah,
you just pick up little things, don't you? And I think what you said there is really interesting. Like, it could go either way, and absolutely it could. Like, you still have a decision to make. I just feel like you're given a different toolkit if your dad was an entrepreneur and you go into business. You've seen the highs and lows.
You have seen it,
and you know that that's what you're in for too. And so the fear isn't there as much, especially when you're doing business. And like, obviously you know, you're still apprehensive about your own business and things, but you kind of knew what you were getting yourself in for when you did it.
Yeah.
But it's also what you know as well. You've seen him have the highs, and you're probably looking at the highs and going, oh yeah, we would like a bit of that too.
We want the highs.
Yeah, that's what
I mean, I think
doing.
it wasn't that intentional, because obviously we both trained as actors and then we were comedians, but we never, I mean, I think it was more like, I knew I could never work in an office. So what else could I do? I mean, I just wasn't built that way. So it's like I pursued my dream. That didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So I got quick shit and think of another one. So it was more out of like, I can't work in an office because I just knew I wasn't built that way. So I had to do what I'm doing. But you're right. And I have read studies as well about, especially children, they become what they see, and especially on the welfare as well. Like you'll see that families that are on welfare is perpetuated.
Totally.
Because they're not seeing what else they can do. Saying that, I don't think, going back to money, I don't think, I think Loretta and I have got better at money, but we weren't particularly good at it growing up. Quite not as the same as you, but quite irresponsible.
I think a bit similar to your parents, because what with our career, what would happen is we could spend loads and then we'd go, I'll get a voiceover.
I'll get an advert.
And quite often we would. Or I'll get an advert, but it wasn't guaranteed, but we would get good big money sums in one go. So we kind of hedged our bets.
I think as well, at that time as well, because we've analysed it and looked back and gone, as I've got older, like, what is my relationship with money? Is it an energy? And I'm going to ask you all these questions. But I started to reflect and go, I've also got an ADHD diagnosis. So, and we're, famously bad with money. That's one of the things, the dopamine and I wasn't necessarily like spending loads on clothes and stuff like that. At the time we were doing lots of shows in Edinburgh, but I would put it on credit. So I'd put the marketing on credit. I'd put which is more businessy. But then, and I'd go, well, it's a business debt. But then I would go to Edinburgh and I would do my show at like 6:00. And then afterwards, I'd go out for dinner every single night.
Yeah.
And that would be on a credit card.
Yeah.
So I, very similar to you, got to about 10 grand's worth of credit. And I started to have like serious palpitations. And I was like, I've got to sort this out.
Weighs on you, doesn't it?
It does weigh on you. It really does. Because, I was quite good at sort of transferring the debt. So I didn't let it build too dramatically so that I wasn't paying too much interest. But I got to a point and I had that little switch. And I was like, okay, I'm going to pay off 400 quid. I'm going to find a way to pay off 400 quid a month. And that's what we both did. I think we read a book, actually. We're like, I've got to sort this out. And I got out of debt. But on that point there's lots of people, and I've seen some of your videos as well, which are brilliant. But they sort of go, okay, have three bank accounts.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
do one here, one there, one there. So if you're bad at money, you don't even see it, you just stream it. But a lot of people don't actually have any extra money to do that. So what do those people do? I get to the end of the month and I'm like, yeah, okay, a lot of it is gone. And I think that's the reality of a lot of people. So how do people like that save? How do they get out of this situation?
It doesn't have to be a lot.
Okay.
I think that if you're in that situation, the value of £10 in savings to you is enormous.
Yeah.
Versus somebody else who might look at that 200 quid and be like, well, that's normal for me. So I think you have to when it comes to finance, it's personal.
Yeah.
All of us here are completely different. And even if we were all paid exactly the same, we'd all have different budgets and all have different priorities.
Yeah.
And different kids or not. And there's so many different variables, like how much you pay for your house versus where you like to shop or what you like to eat. There's so many different variables. So it's impossible to put one size fits all on personal finance, because it just doesn't work like that. The reason why things like a free bank system will work is because it doesn't matter if you're saving £1, that system's still in place. And what it does mean is that automating, because a lot of people find it extremely difficult to budget, because the pressure is on initially, because everybody thinks I've got to stick to it 100%. And actually it's just almost impossible. In fact, 82% of people don't stick to a budget and they never will. And so why are we trying to fight that fight? What we can do is just little things here and there to make our life less stressful. And so if we haven't got a lot of money when it comes to the end of the month, then we want to be in a place where we at least know what's coming, because it always is with a budget, like the bill that comes out on the 18th, which you forget about. And then you're like, oh, I'm doing all right. And then suddenly it comes out and you're like, no, what's going to happen now? I've got 11 days of beans. This isn't good. So how do we try and get ourselves away from that as much as possible, without having to majorly do a big budget and sit there with a spreadsheet, which a lot of people find extremely hard to do.
Yeah.
How can we just automate a lot of it so I can just see, okay, I'm left with that.
Yeah.
That's it. All my bills are paid. I've got even £1 going in my savings account, go me.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, I've got 600 quid. Right, that's it. I've got that to play with.
Okay.
And so that's why automation can take away a lot of the stress for a lot of people. And but it's just as simple as having 3 banks rather than having to like put all of this time and effort in every month.
I feel like we've jumped into like the hows and without
hows.
getting to the end of the end of your story. So we touched on the fact that you got yourself out of debt and you did it by doing your side hustles. So you're out of debt now and you've learnt a lot. And then what happened?
Yeah, at that point you've got decision to make. You can either go back and be old you and carry on that life, or you can carry on forward. And I think where by the sounds of it, we're all sort of entrepreneurs here, and I've definitely got that spirit in me. I just wanted to kick on at that point, and I was like, well, how can I use what I'm doing here to push me forward a little bit more? And I'm not talking about multi-millions here. I'm talking about, okay, how do I get to my first 10 grand in savings? How do I get to that point? And how do I break that down? Because it's exactly the same behaviour of getting out of debt to growing it as well.
Yeah.
So it's almost just a continuation of the path. And so, it did mean that I could start enjoying life a little bit more. And a lot of people get this confused with personal finance. It's like they think it's 100% baked beans, dark room, turn the heating off, or like I'm living my best life with my credit card. And there is a balance. And so like, it's just about learning. For me, the most powerful thing for me was learning what to say yes to and what to say no to. And really asking myself like the value of the things that I buy. So what I like doing now is just going, okay, if I buy that, is it because somebody else has told me to buy it, i.e. society or a marketing campaign, or do I actually want the thing? And then once I've answered that question, sometimes your little man in your brain or lady in your brain will go, yeah, you do, you definitely want it. Yeah. And at that point, I then wait 24 hours. So I started doing things like this. And then I was like, and then 99% of the time, it was the man in the brain or a bit of dopamine telling you that it was a good idea, and you don't buy the thing. And so you start just doing these things, and it's about those habits that you start putting into place. And I am a professed overspender on certain things. Yeah. So, for example, farm shops. Take me in a farm shop. I'm blowing silly amounts of money.
What's in the farm shop?
Oh, come on, organic foods. Like,
I see.
I'm obsessed with food. So like, I love
that's
cooking.
Good, isn't it?
So that's not a bad spend though.
No, so absolutely. So there's certain things which I'm like, that does provide me value. So it's like full pedal to the metal over there. Yeah. But the Tuesday night pints that I wasn't enjoying as much, or like, why am I out on a Tuesday when I shouldn't?
That's what I was going to ask you. So like, I'm quite good at not just spending stuff on like bags, clothes. I mean, if I really need something, but I love going out for dinner.
Yeah.
So like, is that allowed? Should I not be doing that?
So what I like to say to people is there should be something, I call it the anti-budget. There should be a portion of your spending that's like set aside for you to do the things that you love. Yeah. The problem is that if that thing that you love, so for example, a lot of people use coffees as the example.
Yeah.
Right? And I hate it because it's like, listen, if the moment of your day is walking into that coffee shop,
it's the best part of your day.
It's the best part of your day. Buy the coffee, please. Like, we have this conversation.
We
have one life.
Yeah.
But if the coffees are the major problem that's stopping you from getting to the goal, which you want a little bit more than the coffees, well then there's a question to ask yourself there. That's where the question comes in. Then do the example with the dinners. If it's 4 a month, maybe I could go 2 a month. I still enjoy it, but then I've put that money into play for me to hit the goal which I really want to hit, and deep down. Yeah. And so there's just like it's kind of a balancing act of value in your life, and that's what I tend to just play with. Like, there's never a bad decision, and if you make a bad decision, a lot of people fall off the wagon and they're like, that's it, doesn't work, I'm done. And I think that I do that, and it's about just reminding yourself, like, okay, made a mistake, cool, what can I do next?
I think it's interesting, that 24-hour thing, because I think that is really fascinating, and we talk about that when we run our retreats, when people are trying to set up new habits, and we call it not me, I don't call it, but it's a theory called surfing the urge. So you say to yourself, if you really want something, notice how you're feeling, and then give yourself 10 minutes. And if you want that thing, whether it's chocolate ice cream or whatever it is, and if you want it as much as you want it 10 minutes ago, then you can have it. And in 99% of cases, people don't have it. Yeah.
It's crazy,
but I think
isn't it?
that's true because I can feel it in myself. Like if I'm uptown, I'm not very often not uptown, and I see something and I think, really fancy. I know what it is. I don't need another top. I don't need another pair of shoes or whatever it is. But I'm craving that dopamine. But it's having that awareness. That is what you're craving, not the new top, the new shoes, or whatever it is.
So there's actual scientific evidence for this. And so the actual thing about, so you think you want the thing, and actually it's the dopamine receptors in your brain is what's telling you to buy it. It's not actually the physical item itself. It's the actual purchasing of that item. And so 82% of impulse purchases are regretted the next day. So that's solving, and
you feel a bit shameful, don't you?
You do. You shame yourself, which is mad, because you're like, at the time I'm like, I really wanted that. And I've done it where I bought trainers and I'm like, I look at them and they stay in the box for like weeks, and then I take them back on the last day of the like returns thing, because I just can't bear myself to like bring them and put them on, because I like talk myself into buying them while I was out in a trainer shop or uptown or whatever that might well be, and then you can't kind of shame yourself into thinking it's what have I done. And so you are never going to win all the battles. And I think that's really important to say. You see 10,000 adverts a day if you use a phone and you live in a city, and you see 2,000 to 3,000 in rural areas. So eventually one of them's going to win, and that's just the way marketing works. They're good at it. They hit you from multiple angles, multiple touch points, make you feel things. They're going to win.
Well, it's interesting because we interviewed someone recently, and she was saying that if someone says, "Oh, marketing doesn't affect me," it has no effect. She said that in itself is showing you that marketing has won. Because that's why it wins, because people think it isn't affecting them, and it is subliminally.
Yeah, she told a story about, is it the Negroni drink? The one, it's like champagne and it's got, I don't know, it's got liquor in it. It became very popular.
Campari.
Yeah. It became really popular and everybody was drinking it and it was cool. And everywhere you went, especially in the summer. And I was like, what's wrong with it? I mean, I don't drink.
Oh, Aperol Spritz.
Yeah, that's one.
It, yeah.
And I was like, I don't drink anyway, but I was like, it does look quite cool. All cool people are drinking it. And she was working on the campaign back in marketing, and she was like, that the Aperol Spritz bit, or the Aperol bit they put in, it was like a really old-fashioned liqueur in the top of a mountain. Nobody was drinking it. And they just remarketed it, rebranded it, and then all of a sudden it was cool. And people don't even know why they're drinking it, because it was aspirational. So they're, like you were sort of saying about wanting to fit in, wanting to be someone, that's all about aspiration, isn't it?
Totally.
And so going back to that, what do you think about that kind of your relationship with money? Is it to do with feeling like not enough?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I grew up around here, which we both know. I went to a very good school until I was 11, and then I was taken out of that school and put into, it was still an incredibly good school, but I went from private school to not private school.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
how awful.
I know. Wild.
It's a shock, isn't it?
Yeah. Culture shock.
Yeah.
Was it? Did you find that difficult?
Extremely, yeah. Because I turned
Were
up
you the
onto-
posh boy?
I was the posh boy.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was like, and if you met my granddad and my dad, they're both like, yeah, you right, they're speaking like this, and I'd come home, hello, grandfather, and I was like, who the hell's this kid?
Yeah.
But I was afforded that, and then I went into secondary school, and so I think a lot of that comes from that, because when you're the posh kid, you get the actual, can I swear?
Yeah.
You get the absolute shit ripped out of you
Yeah.
for years, and then you grow up a little bit, and that. So, fitting in for me was probably quite an important thing, and that stemmed over into how I treated money, I think. And so that was like a big, and I speak to a lot of kids that have done the same now, and they're all exactly the same. They all have that real problem of like dealing with money, of not enoughness. And so, yeah, definitely hits you.
Do you think it hits boys more than girls?
I think it's very different.
Yeah.
I think it's extremely different. men, it's definitely like status
Yeah.
symbols and like you
The
show
cars,
off. You show,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. It's more material.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't like to comment on.
No, I was about to say. Well, the women, it's the handbags, isn't it? So that's very sexist.
Could I ask what it is? I'm interested. Like, what would you say it is if you were to look at it from a woman's perspective?
I don't suffer from that. Like, I need to buy expensive handbags, but I do have friends that do.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I honestly think if I had all the money in the world, I really don't believe I could spend £2,000 on a bag, because I just know that is not worth £2,000.
No, exactly. You're buying a badge.
Yeah, you are buying a badge. So then if you unpick that, what is that about? Look, I know some people are just generally into fashion, and that's fine. And if that's their love, that's their love. But you can buy a bag that looks really nice that's not $2,000, you know. But I think our thing has always been experiences, hasn't it? It'd be always like, can we afford we live together with our 2 kids, and we're like, can we afford like a holiday? But like, I'm like, oh my God, we've only got 3 more years until they're never going to want to be with us again. And, you know, you have all these debates in your head.
Yeah.
But I think as you said, I do think it's about moderating and go, okay, I might not be able to afford a £15,000 holiday to Thailand. Can I do it on a budget? Can I do it on 5?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you're not missing out. And you're doing it, but in your way, but without being like stupid.
Totally, and like it's
otherwise it's a bit
interesting
joyless, isn't it?
Oh mate, yeah,
looking at your
100%.
money, your ins and outs, and how much
know.
can I do? Have enough money for dinner this month?
Yeah,
it's so boring.
I know,
isn't
it really is, and like that's what we're doing now. We're trying to solve that for people with what we're building, and I think it's like with this stuff, if you just give it 15 minutes a week. Which is like a commute on a bus to somewhere, or sitting on a train, or sitting on the tube. If you just give it that once a week, honestly, it's more than enough. And I always say this to people as well, that like a lot of people think they need to become this like financial guru. You don't. 90% of it's in your mind.
Yeah.
And it's all about your mindset and how you perceive yourself and the way that you do things. A lot of that value piece comes into play. And the 10% is actually really simple and easy to learn. But a lot of people think that they need to take it all on at once. So with that 15 minutes a month, just take on like one really tiny problem, and then that's all you're doing for the week, and just give yourself a break at that point. Because it's like, you know, we had this conversation earlier. It's like, I need to do this, and then I speak to the accountant, and he's telling me all these things, and like suddenly it's just massive overwhelm. And for the everyday person, because we weren't taught this stuff in school, like we just bury our head in the sand. We'd rather avoid it.
Yeah, and that's what we did a lot.
Yeah.
And it's normal behaviour because it's alien to you.
Do you think what do you think about, like, do you think you attract money? Do you think money's an energy?
100%.
Do you? So talk me through that.
Yeah, so I believe massively in abundance.
Yeah.
I've just got this.
Why do you believe in it?
Yeah, how did you get to that point?
Because I think you are what you tell yourself. And that's not just down to money, that's down to absolutely everything in life. I think if you tell yourself you're a bad person, eventually you do bad things.
But no one tells themselves they're a bad person. Most
they
people are in
do.
denial.
They do.
I see what you mean. I'm not a good person.
Yeah, I'm not a good person. I'm not about to do like. I'm not worthy of X, Y, and Z person.
Yeah.
I'm not worthy of having the promotion at work, so I'm going to beat myself down and underperform. My energy goes down, and so I underperform.
Right.
Then self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
And I believe it's exactly the same with money. If you want to get something in life, you tell yourself, I have a vision board, and it changes every year, and I just redo it once a year. And I was not the woo-woo person ever. And the moment I did start doing a vision board, all of it started to come true.
Did it?
And I was like, this is mental. Like, it's because I see it every day.
Yeah.
And I look at it, and I just believe that your mind finds subconsciously ways of doing things. Like I've wanted people to come on the podcast, which I didn't think would ever come on, or I thought they were really super cool before.
Yeah.
And then eventually they've come on.
Yeah.
And it's just, the weirdest things would happen. Like I'd be at an event and they'd be there.
Yeah.
So I'd walk over and I'd be like, hi. And I'm like, it's like, you go home and you go, how has that just happened?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that they were going to be there or what was going to happen, but it's now happened to me. And so you've got that in your power.
Yeah.
And so why not try it?
Yeah.
And just tell yourself, and if it comes true in a year or 5 years, great. But like eventually I think you'll find a way.
And the only downside is that, you know, you feel good. It makes you feel good.
Exactly.
That kind of optimism, that hope, that
Totally.
kind of
installs hope.
Yeah, and that thing of like, I don't know, excitement, or anything can happen and there's possibility. Because I mean, we're obviously a lot older than you. I think as you get older, what happens is your life becomes quite stagnant and things don't change, and that hope diminishes, because it's like I'm in my 50s, and you know we often have it with our business. You know, it's like, oh, it's a bit too late, or you know,
it's the narratives that you build up over time.
Yeah.
You have to be really careful of. So like, if you take a step back from your life, like our lives are actually hugely successful. We're not millionaires, you know, but we are actually very successful in a lot of areas, but sometimes we don't feel it because you sort of go, well, I've still got money worries, or you know, I'm launching this project, and we've had to walk away from our investor, and I've got to find another way. And I'm like, if someone else was to, I'm sure if they look at my socials, and I often get that going, wow, you're doing amazing things, and I'm like, that doesn't feel amazing.
Same.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're like,
well, I suppose behind the socials, you're getting to grips with the everyday kind of business struggles. We're sharing launching a new product. They don't know what's gone on behind the scenes and how hard it's been.
But that's an
you know,
achievement in itself, isn't it? And so like I did this, I wrote this article on the back end of last year because I was really feeling it. Got to December and I was just completely whacked because it'd been a long year. And you don't ever let yourself look back. And I think like you have to ask yourself, would 5 years ago be proud of what we did this year?
Yeah.
And when I wrote it all down about what we achieved that year, I was like, oh, Jesus, that's...
Yeah.
And then you have that moment. And I think it's important that everyone should have that moment.
Yeah, it's so true.
And even if you've gone backwards that year, it's still, what have I learned from that experience?
Yeah.
That I can then take forward this year. And I'm not the one that's like New Year's resolutions. I just don't do that type of stuff. Because you sort of put yourself under pressure to achieve them.
Yeah.
But I get people that do and that need to kick themselves up the arse and stuff like that. I totally get that. But I think it's nicer just a reflection of like, okay, well, I've learned that. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
I want to do that again. And that's wicked. And I need to do more of that.
Yeah.
Because that's moving me in the right direction. Because when I first started doing this thing, that's where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And so I'm nearly there. But actually, it's like, well, I've got to do that.
I think, you know, and I think it is keeping that optimism and that drive forward, because the humdrum of everyday life and bills, and it can feel, you know, quite weighty. And as you were saying, right, as you get a bit older, sometimes you have things that have not worked out, you know, where you go, oh, that nearly happened but it didn't. And then you can start to have these kind of little voices going, well, you nearly got there but you didn't. But you know, when I listen to any sort of entrepreneurial podcast, if you listen to any one of those journeys, I mean, you just go, wow, and then that nearly happened, and then that came in, and then that crashed, then the market crashed, and then they had to reinvent themselves, and then that's the truth for nobody has it plain sailing.
Yeah.
That's the truth for everybody, that
100%.
It's good and it's bad. It's both.
It totally is. I would encourage everybody to read Shoe Dog.
What's it called?
Shoe Dog.
Shoe Dog.
I've read
You read
it.
it, the Nike book.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Because you just see, one of the most, everyone knows Nike.
Yeah.
Everyone. But that business nearly failed 1 billion times over in that book. And it only goes up to like 1984. Like, God knows what happened like after that. And also, so it just goes to show like nothing in life is a certain guarantee. Everyone that's achieved anything has failed more times than you can imagine.
Yeah.
So the answer is fail more than you are currently now.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you'll grow.
Yeah.
Because if you do hit the big time with an idea or, you know, a job or a new promotion, it can stem over into all walks of life. It doesn't have to be business. Well, then like you took that step, right?
Yeah.
And it's about challenging yourself. That's why I say to a lot of people, have you been in the job for 10 years? Like, do you feel motivated? Do you do a challenge? They're like, no. I'm like, well, like, you need to move. You need to do something.
Yeah.
To light a fire up your ass, because it's like,
How's
life's
this gonna
stagnant.
change? Yeah.
Well, then you need to light a fire. Like,
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Because you need that little kick up the arse sometimes to sort of change things up. And as I get older myself, and I sort of start to realise these things, I'm like, well, I don't want to just settle.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people do. They get the sort of golden handcuffs of a salary.
Yeah.
They get the job, the missus, the dog, the 2 kids.
Yeah.
And then they explode in their 50s because actually they never really like unpacked what they really wanted from life.
Yeah.
They just followed a format which was sort of handed to them.
So do you
I think it's hard as well
Yeah.
because I think comfort sometimes is easier than change.
Always.
Always. And you don't even if the comfort is negative. So even if you're comfortable being in a negative scenario, I think sometimes that is so much easier to stay there than it is to go, actually, I need to get out or leave the job or leave the husband or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah,
so do you believe with the whole kind of like the law of attraction and abundance? So do you believe in it as in, you get yourself into really? Does it come quite naturally to you? Do you have to work on it? Is it like thinking about it and then taking action? How what is it like for you?
I'm very lucky that my other half is extremely into all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So like she's definitely rubbed off on me. Like
Yeah.
you asked me 10 years to write a vision board, I would have literally laughed at you.
Yeah.
So like it has definitely rubbed off on me. But once you, like for example, even when it comes to like things like breath work, like I wouldn't have done any of it before.
Yeah.
But I went to a class with her, came out like, wow, I literally feel like I was in the middle of the best night out ever, and I was 18 again. Like I was like, this is awesome. So I feel like you need to dip your toe in to see the power of it. If you go like full hog, like Wim Hof, and I'm going to do the new X, Y, and Z, like it's never going to work.
Yeah.
But so just dip your toe in, like just say to yourself for a month, like I'm going to go and get X, Y, and Z. Like pick one goal, and I'm going to go and do that. Just tell yourself every day, write it down on the fridge or something like that, and then see if it comes true.
Yeah.
And if it does. Like, don't pick like I'm going to become the CEO of
Google.
Yeah,
I'm going
Come
to
on.
overtake Jay Shetty's podcast. Yeah.
But say maybe like I want to, get to 50 reviews of my podcast or whatever that is, and I'm on 32 right now. Like I want to get there in 30 days.
Yeah.
Like then set yourself a challenge, a goal that you can hit, but it's a challenge.
Well, it's actually interesting because this week we were just looking at other ways to kind of bring in money, things that we can do, things that we love doing. And I was like, oh, maybe we'll do like a really healthy supper club. And I was a bit like, well, who's going to book it? And it's all the way in North London, and and we literally have sold, like 15 tickets off the bat, within 2 days. And that's a big win. It's about really kind of
little
again,
wins.
I'm not going to be a millionaire, but it's like these little wins to go. 15 people have just gone and booked that.
It's mad, isn't
like
it?
that's a win.
Totally. So there's that challenge there.
That was a challenge.
Right?
Can I sell the tickets?
Could I sell the tickets?
Yeah.
I've got 30 days.
Yeah.
And maybe you might do it in 10 because you said you're going to do it in 30 or 15 or whatever that might well be, because you've just put it in your brain, you've seeded the idea. And I always say to people when they do their numbers and they look at it and they go, oh, I'm never going to hit that. And I go, well, that's the first step. We've fallen over. You might as well leave. Let's break it down. What can I do this year? And every year we're just going to do that. And we're just going to look at it once a year. What can I hit this year? And what people find is that when they do that, they end up getting there within 8 months. Yeah. Because they've set themselves a goal, and then that's all they're worried about at that point, and they know that goal is achievable, and they find new ways of getting there faster. And so I love that about personal finance, because it doesn't. And I think a lot of people look up and they're like, oh, I need X amount of money saved, and they just forget that there's seasons in life as well. Like, what if you have 2 kids? What if you have job loss? Like all of these things, and what happens then? So I think we just have to take it in a lot shorter time frames than we allow ourselves to do. Like we think that we need to be at these big goals, but the most important thing is like, what can you affect next that's actually achievable in those small things? And the same thing comes for your money as well.
So how did you go so you went from kind of basically being in debt, getting out of debt, to doing what you do now? Because you've got quite a large Instagram following as well. How did you get to where you are now?
I love like marketing and bringing people together, and I also kind of like public speaking. Like I went to drama school.
Oh, did you?
I did music, and
Yeah. Where did you go?
So I went to St Albans.
Okay. Yeah.
Sandringham School.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I did musical theatre.
Yeah.
And so I've always just loved like the performance side, and then I also really love the kind of social media and growing businesses, and I love branding and coming up with brands and like putting them out there. And that's what we have to do like a million times over. When you run nightclubs and jazz clubs, you're literally as good as your last night.
Yeah.
And then next night you've got a different branded themed night on that you've got to promote and sell. And I just really loved all of that. And when I came to learn about money, it was like I've fallen into that probably because my entire family is all I've ever known.
Yeah.
And so I was good at it because I grew up like that, kind of, imagine like we sort of picked up the things from our parents earlier. So I felt comfortable in that environment, but it wasn't really my calling.
Yeah.
And so I did, once I started learning about money, I sort of saw that, we've got Martin Lewis, incredible guy, done amazing things for this country, but there wasn't really anyone at my age really talking about things that I wanted to learn about, which was like a little bit of investing, a little bit of side hustles, making money online, that type of stuff. And I was like, well, why don't I just give it a go?
Yeah.
See what happens. And then COVID hit, and we had that 11 months where I couldn't open a venue. And so I just started writing and did blogs, and we had a WhatsApp group with a few friends in, and then friends of friends, and then their family friends, and all this. And this WhatsApp group grew, and then they just started asking questions. So I'd write the article about the question.
Right.
I'd go off and learn it, write the article about it.
And what type of questions would they be?
So things like, what's a pension? How do I use an ISA? How do I grow my money? All of
Sort of
these.
thing they should be teaching this stuff at school, shouldn't they?
Exactly, stuff that we should know. But when you looked it up online, there'd be massive block articles on these big websites using terminology which for the everyday person wasn't. So I started doing funny things. I started using analogies of chocolate or like James Brown songs and using lyrics and doing fun things like that. And then people were like, oh, this is really fun. You should make a video about it. And I was like, video?
Yeah.
God, like, Jesus, that's going to be a bit hard. But then I started doing videos, and so I just brought in a different vibe. Like everyone was doing the like sit down and this is how you invest your money.
About finance.
Let's talk about money. And I was like, let me throw that completely out and do something different. So I put like old 70s funk like songs which people would know underneath it, and I sat at a table and like broke down things and used like analogies that people could understand, and people just started really resonating with it. And I was like, well, we're really onto something here. Yeah. And it's just kind of gone nuts. And now we have this crazy community. It's like 500,000 people now. It's just wild.
Really?
Yeah, across
in like 3 years you've done this?
Yeah.
5 years?
It's nuts. Well, yeah, so the website is 5 years old.
Yeah.
Been doing social media, the video stuff and the podcast for about 3 years, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's nuts. It really is crazy. I think when you land on something that you really care about, and then you flip it with like something which is completely like they hadn't seen that before. Yeah. And you marry the two together, and we just managed to get lucky, I think. And
you've sort of found your kind of your audience.
Yeah.
That people need to, that want to learn about money and, want to do better.
Totally.
And is it people that kind of aren't necessarily like really big earners, just like your normal type person? Is that who it's targeted at, or is it for everyone?
Definitely. So we have one of our biggest things that we have is our quiz, and people go through it and they put their salary in. Yeah. And actually the core, so our core audience is 35 to 55.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And within that salary set, the biggest is 40 to 60.
Okay.
So it's not like, it's slightly above average.
Yeah.
But it's not
huge.
It's
mid-range, isn't it?
It's mid-range.
Well, especially now living in London.
Or living anywhere.
Yeah.
Living anywhere.
It doesn't get you much. And that's
Totally.
another thing. Like people are perhaps earning more, but are seeing less. And that's why they need help.
It's a big problem for us.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're doing the app at the moment.
Yeah.
We're building the app to sort of bat the cost of living off for people.
Yeah.
It's
and what's the app going to be called?
It's Gains app.
Gains app. Okay, great. Okay, brilliant.
So the idea is essentially because we all struggle with budgeting and finance, but we're we're happy to send voice notes or type
Yeah.
on WhatsApp. So can you talk to your money instead of it being a like a chore or somewhere you have to sit down and fill out a spreadsheet? So we've built an AI system which you can literally like voice note it, and you can say,
okay.
hey, how much have I spent last week on takeaways?
Oh, you'd love that, Sharon.
And it
Although I don't want to know the answer. Yeah.
you can ask it anything. So you
Right.
could say to it, have I overspent last month? How can I find myself £200 because I've got to put down a deposit for X, Y, and Z, and it's going to find it for you.
Brilliant.
And so,
Amazing.
and it would give you multiple options about how you can do that. And so, okay, you know, you might need to cut out one of your dinners this month or whatever that might be.
Yeah.
I've cut my blow dries.
Damn it.
Yeah. Love
But-
to blow dry. I've had to cut those.
But it's also designed so you don't have to cut the things which are really important to you as
exactly.
well, so it knows that about
Yeah.
you, and it will come to learn that. And then what we use is something called instant cashback. So what happens is you buy a gift card. So when you go to Tesco, you buy the gift card in advance. So say you spend £100 on your shopping most weeks, you buy the £100 in advance, and then immediately you get 4 to 5% back on that money. So you've got £5 back every shop.
Why?
Sorry,
How have you got £5 back?
through buying the gift card on the app. So
Oh, I see.
what happens is like, you know,
On the Tesco app?
no, so it's on our app.
On your app? Okay.
Yeah,
And you
and
give
it's-
£5 back?
We give between 5 and 15% on pretty much every major retailer in the country.
That's
How did
amazing.
you do that?
You did a
Did
deal
you do a
with...
deal with the
Do a deal with the
supermarket?
well.
We're making it sound really low rent, aren't we? You did a little deal, did you?
Yeah, side
deals.
hustle. How much you getting? How much you getting on that one?
I'll tell you off camera.
Yeah.
No. It's so the way that the app makes money is like the Tesco will give us 5%, and
Yeah.
we give 4.5% to the customer because
Okay.
we've got bills to pay too.
Yeah.
So we're not making an enormous amount of money
Yeah.
on it. It's just we need the spread to essentially pay our staff and
Yeah.
allow the service to keep going. But the so for example, what you do is you log in and you
Yeah.
say, I'm going to Tesco's right now, Tesco, and then you put, okay, I'm buying £50. You'd use your Apple Pay,
Yeah.
and you purchase the gift card, and then as literally when you're paying, instead of double tapping or tapping your card, you just scan the gift card,
Yeah.
and then that pays for your shopping,
And then you get money back. I'm going to sign up.
and the money
Yeah.
sits
I
in
can
your
maybe
account.
start having coffees again
There you go.
with all the money saved. I'm just checking on the time. It's actually 6:15.
Yes.
So
That has gone so quickly.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Considering we were talking about right at the beginning, I said, you know, we're scared of finance, and I find it so boring. Not you boring, but like
Yeah.
I really like logging into my Barclays app. I'm like, I have to be in the right frame of mind. I go,
Yeah, I get it.
right, come on, deep breaths.
Yeah, you're in.
It's fine,
Yeah.
it's fine. You know, that
got
kind of
this.
thing. Yeah. But how interesting has it been?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
fun.
has actually been
Because
interesting.
it's not all about money.
No, but it's about
much
something
more
deeper
to-
than that.
yeah,
It's the relationship with money,
Yeah.
which is important, and how we were brought up, and what have we picked up from being young.
Totally.
And you sort of think, oh, what have we given to our kids?
I know.
Oh, God.
They're sort of, you're like,
Yeah.
oh no,
They were
they're going to be
how
like
much
me.
savings do you have? And I was
Yeah.
like, can we like change the subject?
But Daddy spends on organic foods in farm shops. Like,
Yes.
oh man.
I know. All our money's on really good food as well. Do we have any other questions?
No,
No.
I
Okay.
think that's it. I think we've covered a load of stuff there.
Thank
so
you
we
so
will
much.
put all your info in the show notes. And your the website. What's your website called?
So it's gainsapp.com.
Gainsapp.com.
Or you can go on upthegains.co.uk, and there's about 300
the Gavins.
up the Gavs. There's 300 free guides on there. So if you have a problem with money and you're like, oh, I need to know what that means, you type it in, search it, we'll have written something about it. And it's, as I say, it's literally designed to like break it down for non-financy people. It's not
Yeah.
for financy people.
Yeah.
It's for people that just need that. I get that.
Yeah.
And then hopefully it'll help.
Brilliant.
Lovely, thank you.
so much. We'll put it all in the show
Show
notes,
notes.
but it's been amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.
You've been listening to the Gavin Sisters Wellness Show. If you enjoyed the episode, please tell your friends, share, like, subscribe. I don't know. We have no idea. We're not very good at like marketing or algorithms or whatever the hell
Yeah.
people go on about. But yeah, just share it. Thank you. We're single mums. We need you.
Thank you.
Thank you.